The land of Oz is a place we think we know. Bright colors, singing munchkins, a yellow brick road to a sparkling emerald city. But what if that safe harbor crumbles? What if the magic fades, and Oz becomes something twisted and unrecognizable? The cinematic journey into Oz didn't end with a click of ruby slippers. It continued, taking a much darker turn. This essay explores the collapse of fairy tales and the transformation of childhood dreams into nightmares. We'll venture into two chapters. The desolate world of 1985, where Dorothy finds Oz in ruins, and 2012, where an adult Dorothy discovers her past is dangerously real. These films use desaturated colors, distorted visuals, and unsettling sounds to turn wonder into fear. Themes of trauma, abandonment, and memory haunt these stories. They're not simple tales of good versus evil, but complex explorations of what happens after happily ever after falls apart. Join me as we walk the broken cobblestones of a ruined emerald city, and see how a place of dreams can become a source of deep anxiety. This journey asks, what happens when the magical world you escape to becomes the very thing you need to escape from? The answer reveals much about our own world, and our need for stories that reflect its complexities. Dorothy's second journey begins not with whimsy, but with grim reality. Back in Kansas, her stories are dismissed as delusion, and she's subjected to electroshock therapy. The safety of the original story is gone, the real world is now clinical horror. Dorothy escapes to Oz, but finds only silence and decay. The yellow brick road is shattered, the Emerald City dark and lifeless, its citizens turned to stone. The wizard is gone, and new tyrants, like the monstrous Gnome King and the chilling Princess Mombi, rule with perverse cruelty. These villains embody body horror and the erasure of identity, turning Oz into a nightmare. Dorothy's old friends are missing or petrified. Her quest is now survival in a world that betrayed her memories. She assembles new broken companions, a clockwork man, a talking chicken, a pumpkin-headed creature, to confront the darkness. The collapse of Oz is total, not just a new villain, but the end of a civilization. Dorothy's journey is no longer about going home, but about surviving the ruins of her sanctuary. The magic is broken, and the world she loved is now her greatest threat. Oz has become a place where dreams curdle into nightmares. Is a story about trauma, externalizing Dorothy's pain onto the ruined landscape. The Emerald City mirrors her shattered inner world. Adults in Kansas and tyrants in Oz both try to erase her identity. Dorothy feels abandoned, by her family, by her friends, by the world she saved. The stone statues of her companions symbolize profound loss and isolation. This Oz is no longer a fairy tale refuge, but a hostile world where Dorothy must face overwhelming danger alone. Her new companions are damaged and incomplete. A chicken, a wind-up man, a fragile pumpkinhead. Together they form a fellowship of the discarded, far from the capable friends of her first adventure. The film becomes an allegory for processing trauma. Dorothy isn't just fighting monsters but the echoes of her own suffering. Mombi's collection of heads reflects her struggle with identity. The Wheelers embody unpredictable, chaotic threats. By confronting these horrors, Dorothy reclaims her story and proves her experiences are real. She finds strength in the darkness, both inside and out. The journey is about survival, resilience, and the fight to be believed. Oz's collapse is a metaphor for the loss of childhood safety. Dorothy's victory is not just over evil, but over the trauma that tried to define her. The tone of dread is set by its cinematic language. The world's familiar vibrancy is stripped away. Muted colors, overgrown roads, and a gray, lifeless Emerald City. This visual mourning signals that joy has been drained, leaving only a husk. Sound design amplifies the unease. Silence replaces cheerful songs. Footsteps echo in empty streets, and the Wheelers' screeching wheels signal menace. The world feels vast, lonely, and dangerous. Creature designs add to the nightmare. Mombi's headless body, the Gnome King's unnatural movements. Even Dorothy's new allies are unsettling. Tick-Tock is clunky and mechanical. Jack Pumpkinhead is fragile and anxious. These aren't lovable companions, but strange beings reflecting the world's brokenness. Every detail reinforces that this is a damaged Oz, where everything struggles to hold together. The film's visuals and sounds disrupt expectations, making fantasy feel like horror. Oz is no longer a place of comfort but a landscape of fear and decay. The silence and strangeness make the collapse of Oz deeply real. decades later, takes the darkness in a new direction. Here, Oz refuses to stay in its own world. Its dangers invade modern New York. Dorothy, now an adult author, believes her childhood adventures were just stories, but the Wicked Witch of the West finds a way to bridge the worlds, her magic seeping into reality. The threat is no longer distant, it's immediate and personal. Fantastical elements become terrifying in the real world. A flying monkey is now a monster among skyscrapers. The witch corrupts the city's power. Dorothy's challenge is to protect her home from the world she thought she left behind. She must accept her past as real and rediscover her courage. The story becomes a battle for her own reality. As the nightmares of Oz threaten to consume her present, the film suggests the worlds we create never truly leave us. They shape who we become. Explores how fantasy worlds can haunt us. For Dorothy, Oz is a persistent shadow, not a fond memory. Her books are an attempt to control her past, but Oz inevitably bleeds through. The film becomes a metaphor for how childhood experiences shape adult lives. Dorothy's struggle is to integrate her ordinary self with the legendary hero she once was. The witch's invasion forces her to confront her past and embrace it as part of her identity. Visual cues, green fog, fleeting glimpses of Oz and reflections blur the line between worlds. Sound design mixes city noise with Oz's magic, creating disorientation. The film asks, what is the true cost of adventure? For Dorothy, it's a lifetime of looking over her shoulder. The vines of Oz threaten to strangle her reality, making her journey a fight for self-acceptance. Comparing and reveals two approaches to a collapsing fairy tale, shows an external collapse. Oz is broken and Dorothy must restore it. The horror is environmental. Dorothy remains steadfast, confronting a corrupted world. In contrast, presents an internal collapse that becomes external. Dorothy's conflict is within. She's denied her past and the barrier between worlds breaks down. The horror is psychological. Dorothy must rediscover her power to save her world. In Jurjo, Dorothy grows up quickly, becoming a leader and validating her experiences. In the 2012 film, adult Dorothy must regress, reawakening the fearless girl she once was. One journey is about fixing a broken world, the other, about fixing a broken connection to that world. Both films show Oz in crisis, but the heart of that crisis is placed in very different places. The result, two Dorothys, each fighting to reclaim their sense of self. Oz's collapse is both a personal and a universal struggle. The power of these darker Oz films lies in their cinematic language of unease, uses desaturated colors to show a world where magic is gone. Browns, grays, and sickly greens tell a story of decay. Unsettling sound design, silence, screeches, and industrial noises builds tension and menace. Disturbing visuals like Mombi's headless body and the Gnome King's jerky movements twist fantasy into horror. Blends mundane city sounds with magical chaos, mirroring Dorothy's fractured reality. Familiar Oz elements in real-world settings, flying monkeys in offices, witches in city halls, create modern dread. These techniques dismantle our expectations of Oz as a place of safety. Both films use color, sound, and design to signal that this is not the Oz we remember. The collapse of Oz is made visceral and affecting through these choices. The result is a fairy tale that lingers as a haunting memory. Why do we revisit classic fairy tales in darker tones? Because the world is more complex than simple good versus evil. Films like and resonate by acknowledging trauma, loss, and the persistence of memory. Validates the experience of those who find comfort corrupted. Showing strength in facing darkness alone. Explores the adult struggle to reconcile past and present, suggesting true maturity means integrating childhood's magic and pain. These films let the fairy tale grow up with us, transforming Oz into a sophisticated allegory for the human condition. Courage is not the absence of fear, but facing it. Worlds can break, heroes can falter, and the road back is often harder than the first journey out. By turning the yellow brick road into a cracked path, these films make Oz immortal. They ensure Oz remains a vital, challenging destination for generations to come.